Hello, hello, and welcome back to another episode of So Into That, the podcast where I invite cool people to chat all about things that we are really into right now. I am over the moon excited for you guys to hear this week's episode because this is the most requested guest that I've had so far. Like the second I announced that I was launching this podcast, the requests for this guest to come on started rolling in. I mention this guest all the time on Instagram because she is the source of most of the books that I read and then recommend to you guys. That's right. We've got Katie from Beach Reads and Bubbly on the podcast this week. If you already follow Katie, you know that she is delightful, charming, funny as heck. She is just like Midwestern to the T. And I mean that in the sense of just so like relatable and down to earth and lovely and kind. I adore this woman. We've been like internet friends for like a year. We chat all the time, but this is the first time that I've ever seen her fabulous smiling face. And it was like the most fun hour of my week. It was so much fun. And then we ended up chatting for 2 more hours. Like I looked out of her window, which I could see in the background, and it was like pitch black dark. Her child was like crawling all over her lap. I was like, all right, I guess I'll let you go, but I never want to let you go. Beach Reads and Bubbly is an account that is dedicated to sharing beach reads mostly, but she also does share a lot of other books that aren't technically considered beach reads. And then she pairs those books with a cocktail. We've been talking about doing a collaboration for ever and ever and ever, and we just haven't gotten to it yet because we're both moms trying to also be entrepreneurs. But we will get there eventually, and I will create a cocktail to pair with a book that we both love and review for you. We'll get there. But for now, you just get to hear us chat about the things that we are so into, including our favorite t-shirt, the kitchen tool that Katie can't live without, that is so random, but now I also need to have immediately. We are also both into 2 things that are, in theory, complete opposites. Mine being something that I never thought that I would be that into, that my husband is super into. Hers being something that she knew she was into, but is so glad that the rest of the world is finally catching on. It was such a good conversation. She makes me laugh so much. She's just full of life, full of fun. If you already know her, you're going to love this conversation. If you don't know Katie yet, you're about to fall in love. Follow her on Instagram for the rest of your life. If you're not a reader already, you are about to discover so many books to try that I know you will fall in love with, because her recommendations, she recommends thrillers, she recommends romance, she recommends others. Katie is lovable. Her books are lovable. This conversation rocked. I'm so excited for you to get to know Katie. So here it is. Okay, Katie, welcome to So Into That. I'm so happy that you're here.
I'm so happy to be here. I feel like we are very good friends, and this is the first time we're ever communicating.
This is the first time I've actually talked to your face, but I feel like I talk to your face all the time.
That's exactly how I feel. I feel like you've been teaching me how to parent for the past year.
I feel like you've been teaching me how to read slutty books.
Okay, and also mine's much slutty. More Katie impressive.
It is. You read really, really trashy books, and also you read really good books, and that is an important line to toe. Sometimes I'm only in the mood to read pure trash. Like when I'm really in the thick of it, when I'm like really busy and I need my brain to be out of my brain, pure trash. But there are also times that call for a good old literature.
Yeah, you want to scratch, but not like, I'm not reading, War and Peace.
I know.
But there's sometimes, so I should define B.R.A.Ds because I feel like your listeners are, it's not in the
so Katie,
public vernacular
Katie calls smutty books. We talked about smutty books on So Into That.
Oh yeah, I listened.
Nella Malik, because she also loves smutty books. Okay, so Katie, tell us what a B.R.A.D is.
So a B.R.A.D is a beach read after dark. That's what B.R.A.D stands for. But also, like, I want you to picture B.R.A.D in your head. It's just like a hunky guy, whatever a hunky guy is to you. My mom once wanted me, I was on the beach, and she's like, you should go up to really hot guys and ask them to like pose with a book, and we can have all different kinds of B.R.A.Ds. And we felt like it was a little sexual harassment-y, but
okay,
one day. But basically, it's smut.
I don't hate it.
I thought I have a whole vision one day, like when we take Beach Read and Bubbly global, we have Brads, like real men, real Brads. Everyone's name tag says Brad. But basically, I just wanted a term that wasn't smut, because sometimes I feel like smut like makes us feel bad about ourselves. And Brads,
Totally.
it's like if you know, you know. If you don't know, some people who have dads and brothers named Brad don't love the term, which I get. But so I use that term instead of smut. Exactly. Named Brad. Exactly. So when I was pregnant with my first, people thought I was going to name him Brad. Like, not kidding. And I was like, I can guarantee that will never happen.
Delete.
Exactly.
In what fucking world?
In what? Well, also, I made it public. I made it known when I got pregnant. I told people the book I was reading, just because, you know, and it was ACOTAR.
Wait, it was ACOTAR.
Yes.
We've discussed this.
Yes. And so a few people thought I was going to name him like, everyone says I say yes. I say Rise. Is that not Rise and?
Oh,
I think you're right.
You're wrong.
But
I'm right.
I kind of like mine better.
I love that for you that you like that better.
So that is what but I know it's wrong. So I almost named my son that. I didn't. I mean, if I did, I would have named him like Tamlin. It was book 1. I mean, can you imagine?
Yeah. Woo! Yeah. That would have been really rough. Yeah, so Beach Reads After Dark. I agree. Brad's, anytime I talk about smut, because I feel like I can't steal your term, but it's such a good one. Maybe I should just adopt it fully.
Please.
Okay, thank you so much.
I can't trademark it. I tried. They said no, so do whatever you want with it.
Dang it.
I know.
Anytime I talk about smut, at least 10 people message me and are like, do you know about Beach Reads and Bubbly? She calls them Brads. I'm like, yeah, I know. You think I don't know. I actually found out about you. So my grandmother was an identical twin, and her identical twin sister had 5 kids, and she had 5 kids. And there were a ton of, they each had 5 kids, and they each had a ton of girls. All this to say, I have like 15.
Oh yeah, I see your weddings you go to.
Female girl cousins.
Yes.
It's the best. And so we have a text chain, we have like a group chat. We're all very good friends. There are like hundreds of messages per day. We call it the cousin blog, because my mom once was like, oh, ask the cousin blog what they think about it. And we were like, the cousin blog? And she was like, isn't that what y'all call it? We were like, oh, honey,
no,
you are 10 years behind. But anyway, so now it's called, of course, the cousin blog. And the cousin blog loves Beach Reads and Bubbly. I found out about you from them. I don't know how long have you really been kicking?
A year ago.
Yeah, probably a year ago. And we now exclusively read books from your list. So thank you. You provide so much value to so many people. And I'm serious. Like, thank you. Reading is it's like, I know you feel the same. It's like my Xanax. Mm-hmm. It is how I escape. It is how I feel happy. It is how I feel sad. It is how I feel so many good things that aren't just my own little working mom life.
Yes, it is the perfect escape. Sometimes I'll look at things like, I mean, I know I don't want to overtalk this, and I know you're very passionate about this, but like Travis and Taylor, I was just watching a clip of them, and it like made me excited to read a book. And I'm like, what do people do who don't read? Not like, I'm never like, oh, reading's great because it stimulates the brain. You know, like I'm not like that. I'm just like, it's such an amazing escape.
Such an amazing
how else
escape.
do you like let your, even TV doesn't let me escape the way reading does.
Oh no in fact, since I became such a big reader, since I discovered like lighter romance books, I used to read only like serious books. Since I discovered lighter, happier books, I don't sit on the couch and watch TV with my husband as much. And so I used to only listen, but I recently got a Kindle, a Paperwhite. Mm-hmm. And so I've been reading a lot with my eyeballs more. And so now I sit on the couch with him reading, put my feet in his lap. Mm-hmm. So we're like touching and present with each other, but he's watching whatever like show.
What he wants to watch.
What he wants to watch. And I am reading. And that's now how we hang out together. And it's a little weird because like, I know maybe we should be like engaging in the same thing, but like, it's either that or I'm in the room reading my book and he's, so exactly. That's what we do right
and
now.
It makes it, you run out of things to talk about when you're married and together all the time. So now when you're out to dinner, you have things to talk about. My hanging with my husband looks exactly like that. He's watching golf.
Okay, so we're going to get into what we're so into in a second, but you have created an entire career for yourself out of reading. So can you've worked in corporate America. Mm-hmm. You've left now, right?
Yes.
I
I worked for a technology company, and I feel like I've like followed you around the country. I lived in Raleigh, North Carolina, and then San Francisco. So I feel like I've always,
What?
yeah.
Oh my
I mean,
God.
I'm from
So
Chicago.
close, but so
I know,
far.
I know.
Yeah.
But so with this company, I would move around, and then I moved back to Chicago. And in 2020, like pre-pandemic, I was sharing what I was reading on my personal
Yeah.
Instagram. I read One Day in
Uh-huh.
December by Josie Silver, and I was like, I just
Ugh.
thought it was so good, and I just wanted my friends to read it. And so I shared it on my personal Instagram, and I
Oh,
just
I
kept
love
like
that.
sharing what I was reading. And my girlfriends would be like, we need somewhere we could reference when we're like at a bookstore. Cause I was like on my stories.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. It was
so,
disappearing. Uh-huh.
and from the beginning, I paired it with a drink because like I was just being a smartass. And
Like
I
even
like,
that very first one,
yeah, a
even One
hot
Day in
toddy.
December.
That's what I paired it with. I was
Oh,
like,
how funny that you
I
did
just
this from the
always,
very start.
I don't know why. And so I made Beach Reads and Bubbly, and I wanted it to be like things I bought and like, and that I would be totally anonymous because I was so embarrassed.
Yeah,
There's a lot of shame at
we
first.
all are.
One, like my corporate job that I had such a serious job, and I just felt like this was my alter ego that, everyone I worked with
What
was
if
like
my
a
boss
6-year-old
sees it?
man. Yes. I'm like, they think I'm reading Sapiens. Like they can't know what I'm really reading. So and then
We
eventually
are
I
not
was like,
reading
I got to
Sapiens.
put my face, like I wanted to interact with people. And it just grew. And then I got pregnant with my son. And when I went on maternity leave, I was like, I'm going to put all my effort into Beach Reads and Bubbly. And if I can grow it, I'm going to not go back to work. And so now I'm a stay-at-home mom. I don't have like help, a nanny or anything. And so I'm trying to
Uh-huh.
navigate that. And so I'm part stay-at-home mom,
Yeah.
part Beach Read and Bubbly right now.
Yes. Okay, cool. I similarly, when I first started, so I was freelance recipe developer before
Hmm.
I went full-time, whatever this job we have is. I hate the word
Glamorous.
influencer. I'm sure
Yeah.
you.
Food
Internet
creator.
girl.
Yeah. Internet girl is very cool.
Internet
You
girls.
sound like Xenon, the girl of the 21st century.
Internet girls.
Exactly.
I was a freelance recipe developer. I wrote for magazines and newspapers and brands, developed recipes. And I similarly, when I first like went internet girl, I was with Mattis. I didn't have any childcare. I was trying to
Hmm.
figure out like, am I making enough money to have
Right.
childcare?
Is this
Do I have
sustainable?
enough? I hope that you are taking care of yourself because I got to a point where I I had so much work, like, because this job, this internet girl job is what you make it. Like you
Hmm.
can work as much as you want or you can work as little as you want. Obviously, you work more, you can make more money, you can build more, you know, profitability, you know, parallels, like whatever. Parallels, that's not the word. Um, but I really got to a point where I was like sleeping 5 hours a night and like, because there's just so much you can do.
That's
But it's
the
so
options
fun
are
to be
endless.
to
It is so
the
fun. You
options
feel
are
so lucky and you're
endless.
like, I want
You
to do
feel
this.
so lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a
I
really,
know.
really lucky position to be in. And
It
I'm really
is.
glad you're here. I was so glad when you left your other job because I was like, how is she going to balance all of this? And this is such a good, we all needed you in this world,
Oh
us
my
reader
God. Thank you
girls.
for saying that. I just feel like so
Ugh,
lucky I get to read all the time. I mean, that's
I know.
all I
So,
do.
okay, wait, that was actually
Yes.
going to be my question. How many hours a day do you spend reading?
I would say so. I
I'm sure it
read
depends.
like every morning before my son has been sleeping in, which has been fabulous because that's new to
Amazing.
me. So I've been reading in the morning a
Yeah.
little. He takes 2 naps. I probably read like 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
At night is
He's
when I
almost
do
one,
most of my
right?
reading. Yeah. And yeah. So I try not to, the thing I'm always balancing is I love to read. And my husband's always like, if this ever stops being fun, like you should not do it. And he's
Right.
like, I don't want you to lose your love of reading because there are weeks where I feel sometimes like, I feel like everyone's here for a book recommendation. And if I'm not coming out with book recs, why are we here?
Totally.
So I'm always,
Totally.
wanting to make sure that I'm reading at a good clip, but it's still fun. And I used to put pressure on myself to like, finish a book if I started it. And now I don't. I'm like very quick to ditch a
Yes.
book. Life is too
I've
short.
seen you talk about that.
Yeah.
Life
Like
is too short.
way too short. There's so many good books out there that we can't read in our lifetime. Like Why
Yes.
suffer through
There's
terrible books?
so many books. It like it makes me stressed to think of how many books are out there waiting on us.
Like,
So
think
we
about
don't
your
have time
to be
to.
read list, like what people recommend. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Ugh.
it's so exciting, but I'm like, I want to read all this.
I would say one of my favorite and least favorite DM conversations that I have with my followers is them every time I recommend a book, which you do it all the time. I do it once a week, twice a week, maybe. The day that I post a book recommendation, 500 recommendations. I'm like, no, 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 no.
500 that sound amazing. And they're like, well,
That
if you
sound
like this, yeah.
amazing.
And you're like,
I'm like,
where do I
and
begin?
I'm like, okay, there goes my TBR. Just like, I just added 500 books to it. Now I can't even remember like what was my priority. That book that I've been wanting to read for that series I've been wanting to start.
What? Okay,
so everyone
wait, speaking of series,
stop recommending books to us, but also
please keep it coming.
Please continue.
Like, that's how I get most of my recommendations. It's because I feel like now all the Beach Read girls know me better than I know myself. Yes. And they're like, you hated these 2 books, love these 3. Like, here's the perfect. It's the best.
Like your followers are like AI.
They are. They are AI. They are.
We know your brain.
Exactly.
They're like,
are we going to talk about
mapping.
Magnolia Parks, or is this not the right place?
This is the right place.
You've only read book 1, right?
Okay, but I'm halfway through Daisy Hates. It is completely okay.
It's a hard
if you are unfamiliar.
Veer left.
Magnolia Parks. Okay, actually, Katie, I kind of need you to tell us more. But
yes.
It's a 4 books so far. 5th is coming out, right?
Yep, in February.
So it goes.
I think there's 7
Magnolia
total.
Parks. 7 total. Okay, so it goes Magnolia Parks, and these are women's names. It goes Magnolia Parks, Daisy Hates, Magnolia Parks, Part 2, Daisy Hates Part 2. Okay, wild. So basically, these are London socialites, right?
Yes.
London socialites. They're in their lower 20s, which is one of my least favorite age ranges to read romance stories about, because I'm like, who the heck do you think you are? You don't know anything. But
then you
also
meet
so
them.
enjoyable. Yeah. Right, because we love them. They have no,
common sense
concerns in the world.
No. I mean, they are the pants because they're postpartum. No.
They are the perfect escape. They are. They
have no real problems. I say they're like, it's like Gossip Girl after high school, but they all some of them get their money from less than savory ways. Like we have he's not like they're like bad guys, but not really bad guys. Like he's not a drug lord, but like they're stealing.
Are we on the Helms?
Yes, my favorite family.
Okay, I actually don't understand. What they do.
It takes a while. Like there's some of them like steal the hates
like steal art.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, which is cool. Like
they're only cool. What's that movie from the 90s?
Oh, I know,
Thomas Crown Affair.
Yes.
Hot.
I mean, so the series is batshit crazy and really strangely written. Like some people hate it, and I completely see why. You'll figure out within about 2 chapters if it's for you. Like,
yeah. Quit it. I want you all to download it because I am addicted. Katie,
it's on Kindle Unlimited, the first one, right?
I don't know. I've been listening.
Okay, I think
the library.
Do they have British accents?
They sure do.
Oh, I should have listened.
Which is my favorite genre of audiobook.
Too.
Like all Josie Silver books.
Yeah.
All British, right? Yeah. Is One Day in December British?
I think.
Or is it in New York? One Day in December.
It's in New York, but aren't they British? I think because she's
I
British.
read that one. I read that one with my eyeballs. So
you never know. So did I.
This is a good case for why to read to listen to audiobooks. Okay, so Magnolia Parks, socialite, toxic love with like
so toxic.
Her person she went to boarding school with since childhood.
Wouldn't you say it's weird how like mature the book is, but there's no sex scenes?
Yes. Okay, yeah. That's actually a very good point, because I know some of us, not us, but some of you, I should say, don't love.
They like a closed door book.
A smutty McSmut. Yeah, it's called Closed Door. If you love a romance book, but you don't love an explicit sex scene, that's called a closed door romance book. And you are a great candidate for Magnolia Parks. But also smut lovers, for some reason, these are just these really capture you.
Oh my God. They get a little steamier towards the end of the series. And what I love is the author is so cool, and she's like an enigma in her own way, and she puts so much, like this book series, like I think someone owns the movie rights, but they the heart she puts into this, she just makes this whole series super sexy because she's cool. The characters are cool. She goes to London to do events. I mean, she's very interesting.
Yeah. Oh, we haven't even talked about the fashion.
Oh,
fashion is
almost to the point of obnoxious. But there's an Instagram account.
Almost.
So in the book, so Magnolia Parks and Daisy Hates are in the same universe, and you have to read them in order. But when Magnolia Parks is narrating, she narrates what she wears, and everyone else wears, down to
everyone,
the designer of the shoes, socks, shirt, everything of everyone.
Socks,
literal. And there's an Instagram account where this amazing woman actually takes she will put the outfits together so you can visualize what everyone's wearing.
She does the blogger layout of the outfit. So BJ walks in wearing a I don't even know enough fancy.
I don't know. The brands are ones I've never.
Bigliana V-neck. And by the way, it's very important if you read these books to follow this Instagram account and just give it a little flipsy, because you can't imagine how crazy BJ was dressing until you they're printed. But it's very kind of White Lotus.
Yes,
vibes.
yes.
Ugh.
And I love Magnolia. And then when Daisy narrates,
should we start a podcast just about Magnolia?
Seriously, it could be. I could write a thesis on it.
It's fantastic.
It's so good.
But it is funny when I talked about it on Instagram. People are either oh, welcome to the best thing, or they're oh, I hated those books, or they're kind of like me and they're prepared for the most toxic love-hate relationship of your life. And that I'm why am I so obsessed with these? But I know. Cannot stop.
It's impossible.
It's Christmas. Right now, when this episode comes out, it'll be 4 days from now. It'll be December 20th. It is the Christmas season. I should be crushing Christmas books. I should be crushing Christmas movies. And I can't stop reading about these little 22-year-old ding-dongs in London.
It's because they have all the money in the world, no problems, and they're just doing glamorous things. It's just so much fun. But you will resent.
They're in Como right now.
Yeah.
Daisy
is so cool. It's so cool.
Daisy is so cool.
Yeah.
Daisy's cooler than Magnolia. Okay. Anyway, Magnolia, please read the books
and report back to us what you think.
Magnolia's a little spooky. Okay, Katie. 20 minutes in. Yes. Let's get into it. Okay. Tell me about what you are so into right now, please.
There's no way you could predict this. What I'm going to say.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
I recently acquired a bread saw, not a serrated knife. Okay. It is. It's I was actually going to bring it here, but that would.
I know.
It's a saw that's perfectly for if you're right-handed, you can cut perfect pieces of bread. I'm in my sourdough era. I'm not making it, but I'm buying fresh loaves. No, I'm 5 years late to that part.
Threw off everything I thought I knew about you.
I can't boil an egg, so no, I absolutely not.
My favorite is when you do walkthroughs of my recipes and you're screwed that up, screwed that up. I'm
I made one of your dishes, and Ryan was this is the worst thing I've ever had, and it's because of me. I can't even tell you who made. So I have to take my cooking escapades off Instagram, but
I don't know. It's pretty entertaining.
The tiny tomato pasta I pulled off. That's my favorite. Hey. So if I can do that.
Okay, so this bread saw.
Okay, bread saw.
Is it it looks like a tiny saw, right?
Yes. And it makes
has
it just
a handle kind of on top and then a straight saw across. Okay. Do you follow Ballerina Farm?
Well, I once shared this on my Instagram, and that's how I learned who this fabulous woman with a million kids is. She makes bread saws, does she? Or sells them?
I believe so. God, we could go down the Ballerina Farms. I love her. She is a Juilliard ballerina. I assume I think they're Mormon. They're in Utah with a lot of children. I think number 8 is on the way.
Oh, yeah.
And they have this huge farm. They're hog farmers. I think they have cows now too. They sell sourdough. They sell a tremendous amount of meat, but now also sourdough, cookies, bread saws. But she makes her own sourdough with all these children pulling on her legs.
She's
bless
her.
Pregnant. It's this it's like this little house on the prairie.
Mhm.
I mean, that is escapism. She posts these like 3-minute long videos, and in them she's always sawing bread. So
Okay,
that
well,
I went
I'm
straight
late to
to
the party.
that.
I mean, that's
No,
where
you're not. You and her are the only people I've ever
I
heard of
love
with them.
I found it at like a craft fair. Or
Oh,
I didn't find it.
cool.
It was a gift for me from one. But it's nice because I like really big
Yes.
hunks of bread. And so you can
Yeah.
make your own adventure. So there's a lady near me who she sounds like a wannabe ballerina farm. She does cookies and
Okay. Okay.
breads. And so that's how I make them. And I use it every day and I love
Yeah.
it. And I feel very like
Okay.
I'm a homemaker when I use it.
You are a homemaker. That is a really good one to be into. Okay, my like thing, because we're doing a product and then like also a,
Yes.
I don't know,
Oh, I'm
bigger life thing today. My product that I'm really into, I did wear for you. It is this t-shirt.
It's beautiful.
And I feel like one of the hottest topics with my like girlfriends, we're always like, if we hang out for more than, several hours and like we've gone past, the actually important catch ups, we end up talking about what's your favorite current t-shirt. Okay, so this t-shirt was like the hottest topic at my last hangout with my San Francisco friends. It is the perfect white tee
Oh, I've heard of
Harvey
this.
tee. Of course you have, because they Instagram, what's it called? Target
Yes.
at us like crazy, which makes me feel like, why are you working so hard?
Right. Me too. Me too.
Are you
I'm like,
okay?
something's
Like,
up. Yeah.
and also the name is it one on one
Right.
hand,
One shirt.
perfect. So on one hand, the name is fabulous because you're like, oh, it's a perfect white tee. Like that's exactly what I want. But also, I'm like, it's a little try hard. Like, are you? Are you the perfect
I mean, I
white
thought
tee?
they only made one white t-shirt. So
did I. And so I just never, I was like, that is such a bizarre business.
Yeah.
So they make several tees. This is the Harvey. It is the perfect crop. So it like hits right
no belly
at
show.
the top. No
I like
crop.
the weight
Exactly.
of this, whatever this is called. Like, yeah, that's really nice.
And it's like really thin, but not too thin. And I have it now in many colors. I gave it as a favorite thing at a favorite things
That's
party.
a good one.
I've given it as Christmas presents to all my friends.
I'm going to order one. I need a white tee.
You need a white tee.
I think
they also have a great off-white. So the perfect tee Harvey. So they have several styles.
I'm writing
Apparently
it down.
the other styles are not as good. So the Harvey is the one. Okay, tell me about what else you're into. I made you work hard this week. You're my first guest who has been multiple responses.
Well, I had all these crazy ideas, but okay. I kind of feel like I sound like a broken record. Here's what I'm into. The romance resurgence. I feel like every 3 days there is a think piece on romance and why it's amazing. I will credit like Travis and Taylor a little bit because I feel like there's a lot of articles on them. And then it kind of talks about the bigger picture, like why we like romance stories. And I am just loving this. Like Emily Henry wrote a piece for Time Magazine, I think, or like Audible did an ad with all these romance authors who are explaining why romance is so great. And there's so many.
All of these.
Oh, I have to share some with you because some of them I haven't even thought of. Like,
I'll link them in the show.
Yeah. You are going into this agreement when you read a romance that the ending is going to be a happy ending. But one of the authors mentioned that like you're able to discuss difficult things. You're able to have conversations that maybe you couldn't in other books. And so I just like that romance is very mainstream. And I feel like longtime romance readers have probably always, felt confident and like loved reading that. But I think it's so fun that now it's like part of the public discussion. And I'm happy about it. And so I love that.
Yeah, because it makes us feel so good. I feel like reading romance books used to be like your wacky spinster Aunt Sally, like over in the corner with like her Fabio on the
shirtless,
cover. And yes, shirtless, blowing in the wind, long hair. And it was like silly and we made fun of her.
And you're like, how lonely is she? Yes,
yeah, how lonely is she? She's having to read romance books. She's not really in her life.
Exactly.
Like, no, that is not what it is. I am obsessed with my husband. You are obsessed with your husband. We have fabulous, rich, romantic relationships with our husbands. And yet the daily grind of being a mom, being a working mom is not super romantic. So getting to read these stories and just be transported to another place, like I genuinely, I'm like you. I'm a broken record. My people have heard me say this a million times. I'm genuinely a happier, better person for being a romance reader.
The second part of your life starts when you realize you can read whatever the hell you want, and like just for pure enjoyment. And I think romance enriches your existing relationships. Like beyond maybe you'll resent him because he's not like Julian hates and he's not, stealing art for you. Beyond that,
Right.
like
That's tough.
romance fuels like my relationship. I mean, in so many
Couldn't
different
agree more.
ways. So I think it's
In
like
so many
super
different
healthy.
ways. Little baby
99%.
Reese
Yeah.
would agree.
Exactly. Rise. Okay.
Yes.
How dare
Yes.
you.
No, I that's such a good one. I love that.
Okay, what are you loving?
I also I love Emily Henry so much. Like anything she writes, I'm like,
I could read if she wrote the phone book, I would read it front to back. I mean, that she has a way with words.
She has such a way with words. She makes me reading Emily Henry books, who is a romance author, if you are not familiar. I always say she's a really great place to start if you're like looking to get into the romance world, because her books are so beautifully written and they're about so much more than just the romance. They're about like working on yourself, discovering who you want to be. The friendships in Happy Place, like
I know,
me.
I
I'm
know.
like, because it's about friendships evolving and how they change, and you're like, my friendships are evolving and my friendships are changing.
I know. She can make you feel so many emotions and then still, like, I will be in the middle of her books and be like, are we getting happy ending? And she will always deliver on that, but it's a very realistic story that she writes.
Yeah.
And
it's
not
a realistic happy ending.
Not smutty. Like I don't think
smutty.
so. And I sometimes think that's hard to write a romance that I'm super, like, I feel the tension if it's not, sexual in some nature.
Yeah.
And so I think authors who can do that are super impressive. She's great.
Super impressive. Yeah. Sometimes when I'm feeling particularly delusional, I think that I could be a romance author.
Yeah, same.
Do you go down this?
Yeah.
Do you go down this path?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I asked one of my other friends who loves romance books. I was like, so do you like have like a list running of all the romance books that you would write? Like I have this list. It's an iPhone note.
You should write a book. No, I'm not that far. I always shut myself down. I'm like, I could never. I
have this list, and then I'll wake up at 3 a.m. with like a plot point for it. I have this one book.
Don't spill the secrets of it, because you're gonna write.
I know I can't spill the secrets. I'll ruin the tension for everyone. And when I finally publish this book in 30 years, but yeah. Anyway, that's like one of my most delusional, like I can do anything things. And then I like I've literally started trying to write it, and I picture myself as Emily Henry, and I can't think of every line is so funny. It's either funny or biting or poignant.
Mm-hmm. Every line has a purpose.
The dialogue is so funny.
I know.
There's no filler.
No. She writes the people like you want to
Henry.
be. I wish she was in my head to write lines for me. Like she's the coolest and the best.
Totally. Like sometimes when I'm in a conversation with like tons of my girlfriends, I'm like, what would an Emily Henry character say right now? To be like,
what
the
a lovable,
funniest,
cool, charming. Exactly. Exactly.
Charming.
Yes.
Slightly unhinged gal.
She's the best.
So, every character is just a little unhinged for different reasons.
Mm-hmm. As is everyone in life. So
yeah, as is everyone in life. And that's why we love them so much. Okay, so my thing that I'm into right now, my other thing that I'm into right now, we're going to talk about Taylor and Travis for the third time on this podcast.
As we should.
Because my thing that I am into right now, and I'm so curious if this is happening to you too, is sports. Sports, period.
Watching sports?
Sports, period. Let me explain. Okay, so my Instagram, my like For You page on Instagram, which is not actually what it's called. That's what it's called on TikTok, but whatever. My Discover page on Instagram is almost entirely sports clips now. And let me explain how that got there. I think you know. So first, how it starts is you're watching videos of Travis and Taylor. You're watching them at her concerts. You're watching the kiss that kissed across the world. Yes. You're from every single angle for 5 days straight. So that really takes your algorithm on a journey down Travis and Taylor lane. Yes. Once you've got Travis in there, you've got the Chiefs in there. So then you start getting the Chiefs clips. So it's like Chiefs. And then it's not just Travis. Like you're also getting like a Patrick Mahomes clip. You're also
maybe
getting
a Jason.
Tons of Jason. And then you start listening to a football podcast.
Me too, girl.
With Jason and Travis Kelce. And so then you're getting the football clips. And so then you start getting served NFL in general clips, not just the Chiefs, NFL in general. And you're actually watching them because you're like, this is interesting. These people have depth. Who knew? They date people.
Right.
George has been like watching the football and I'm like, can you turn on something else? Like, this is so boring. And now my brain is seeing the person.
Right. Who's he going home to? Who's watching the game?
Who's he going home to? Who's he going out to dinner with afterwards? Who's his best friend on the team?
Right.
What's his relationship like with the coach? Does he like the manager? Do they call each other after? Who tells him he did a good job? Does his mom compliment him on his game? Does he have a mom? This is sports. The NFL has apparently, we've all found this out through like how obsessed they are with Taylor. The NFL has apparently been trying to find ways to cater to women for like 10 years because they're losing viewership. Eyes. They're losing watchers. They need us. They need the women. Duh. And like this Taylor thing has been like revolutionary for them. And it's because we're seeing the men behind the helmet.
Right.
And it is fun.
Yes.
Okay?
It is so they were so two-dimensional and now like
so
when I see Travis and Taylor go out after his game, I'm like, wow, I didn't know they had a life after their game. Like who would have
truly never thought, what do they do after a game? Do they go? Never thought about it.
They're just throwing the ball around a little more. Like, I don't know.
I just thought, thank God this is over and my husband will talk to me again. That's what I thought.
Wait, I have to tell you a video I got served. I'm on the same path you are on my For You page. Tell me this isn't a Brad. Guys, I don't know the details of the teams. If you want more info, you can Google it. But
just Google what we're saying. I'll try to find it and link it.
Okay, I believe it was an NFL team. And it was like a special teams coach. So not the head coach, but like one of the other coaches. He's out with his guys celebrating and they're at a club.
I know exactly what you're about to say.
And the guys are dancing with chicks. And the coach sees this one woman and this guy on his team dancing. And he goes up to the guy and he's like, you will not dance with her anymore. Like basically he says, she's mine. And she's mine. They hit it off. They're married to this. They're married right now.
They're married.
I just am like, see, we would have never known that.
Incredible plot line.
Incredible. Like, someone better be writing that romance.
Give me that book. Is the player still playing for the coach?
Right.
What was that relationship like? Did the player immediately
did they kiss on the dance floor?
Right. Did the player see like, whoa, they're meant for each other? Was he
doing it to get the coach
suck him in the face?
Yeah.
A lot of complications here.
We could make this a great book.
Read that.
Maybe this is the book you write. Maybe we are like Christina Lauren and we jointly Katie,
are Christina.
Carolyn, Katie. There's a name in there.
I wish one of us was a lasty.
Yeah.
A last name first.
We can do pen names. We should for the sake of everything.
For the sake of everyone.
Yeah. Because we'll get filthy.
We should just take sports.
Carolyn Kelce. That's what the name should be.
That's it. That's
flies off the shelf.
I mean, yeah, I feel like the NFL, like you big ding dongs, just all you had to do was tell us that these people go out to dinner afterwards and where they go.
And they have feelings, and we would have been interested.
Feelings.
Show us the family for a minute. That's all we need.
Tell us about the family. Oh, they have 3 daughters who they go home to, and the daughters like make fun of them if they lose. Yes.
Tell us, right?
Yes.
We don't care.
Give me that
content. I couldn't agree more.
NFL, you're welcome. If you would like a strategy call, we are available.
Here for a price.
We're available under our pen name.
Yeah.
Okay, Katie, what are you out on right now?
I want to preface this by saying I have interests outside of books, just so you guys know. Yeah. Okay, but this is book related. I am out on kids in romance novels. Get rid of them, especially Brad's. The nanny trope creeps me out because, to your point, these books are escapes. And as soon as you put a kid in them, I just thinking of my kid and I'm like, wait, the nanny and the dad, who's watching the kid? I'm always weirded out. I've just read a book with a single mom and the guy fell in love with her instantly. And he's like, I want to be these kids' dads. And I'm like, you're so freaking weird. It's been 2 weeks. Like, so no kids and romances out.
God, I couldn't agree more. On the same vein, when the happy ending is a pregnancy.
Oh.
I'm like, that?
No, we want like How about you bought her? I don't know. You took her on your private jet to Paris, and I don't know.
Her on your.
We've been knocked up. It's not the best.
She's a chef, and you bought her that restaurant.
Exactly.
She used to go to with her dad, who died of brain cancer when she was 3.
That is a happy ending. Like, you bought the house, her dream house, and
you bought her dream house.
You bought her a decorator. Just something not pregnancy.
Yeah. And it has a wine room because her sister, who got hit by a car when they were both in the car together, loved wine. So
exactly. I don't need the 2 pink lines at the end of my book. Exactly.
I don't want 2 pink lines. Like, give me a break. I am reading this book because of so many pink lines. I need to escape my pink lines.
Exactly. Before the pink lines, are the other... I was out in the world. Now I need to forget the pink lines. And
I need to forget the pink lines. Yeah, no, I can't. Or when it, yeah. The whole, I don't want anybody to be
pregnancy trope.
Anywhere.
One book does it well, I will say. Elizabeth O'Rourke's.
Ooh, gimme.
It's like her Devil series is excellent. And the last one, the woman is pregnant. But I liked it, but I'm like, I don't need to read someone pregnant for a whole book.
Which characters were those? I loved those books. You made me read them.
It was the last.
I was in I think I was really anxious, and I texted you and I was like, I need a really good series that is really dumb, but not too dumb.
Yes, you did. That is the best. That is, she writes a great B.R.A.D. I think it was the last in the series. It's called like the secret baby trope. I don't know what the book's called. Yes,
the secret baby trope. She tried to tell him, or that's a different.
No, I read that book.
That's Chestnut Springs.
Yeah, that is crazy.
That was crazy.
I mean,
that was crazy.
That was crazy.
Okay, yeah, because Okay, the secret baby trope, pregnancy trope, bleh, baby trope, bleh. But nothing is worse.
Absolutely nothing.
Fucking pick up the phone and call him and ask him if that's what he meant to say.
What person wouldn't? I don't know very many people who would just let something go unsaid and just make the worst. The assumption's always the absolute worst. Like, I haven't heard.
This person who I'm madly, deeply in love with,
who told me they love me, like
who told me they love me 45 minutes ago.
Exactly. But I saw him with this girl, so of course.
But I saw him with a girl
cheating on
in
me
a coffee shop.
It's his sister. Exactly.
You moron.
Exactly.
It's his sister.
Hate that. And then you just have to suffer through it with them.
Yes. The worst, and I loved this book, and I know you did too, the worst miscommunication trope ever was Nora help.
Oh, Nora goes off script. I know.
I love that book. I recommend that book.
I know.
5 stars.
And that book does kids well in a romance.
Oh, you're right. Because they're older.
And they're not really meddling, except kind of. Yeah. But that was really bad. That was a very bad use of miscommunication. And like crazy. They're grown adults. They handled their whole relationship very maturely. And then at the end, they're like jumping to crazy conclusions.
Pick up the damn phone.
Pick up the phone.
Like, what?
I know.
Strange.
I know.
Bizarre. How bizarre. Okay. I am out on docuseries.
Oh, yeah. Thank God. Someone says it.
Give it to me in 2 hours. What happened to good old documentaries? We're
watching like 4 movies at this point.
I don't have time for 4 movies. I want to be told about Beckham and Posh in 2 hours. 2 hours. I was watching we started it. I was with my girlfriends this past weekend. And we started Beckham. I had already started watching it and quit because it was docuseries. And the episode 1 ended, and at the exact, because we didn't know that it was a docuseries, we thought it was a documentary.
Mm-hmm.
I had kind of forgotten. And episode 1 ends, and all 3 of us at the exact same time go, "Oh, it's a docuseries!" Like literally the same words at the same time. Over it. And they make you think it's like little bite-sized pieces, but the commitment, the Beckhams is what made me think that exact same thing. I'm like, do I need it's 4 hours, right? Do I need
that's like longer than the Titanic? I'm like, why?
Yeah. Which is the only movie that's allowed
to be that long. Correct.
2 VHSs.
Correct.
Fine.
I mean, David Beckham, I could look at his face all day long, but on my own time. I don't need to do it over 4 hours.
Serious question. Do you like his old face or his first started playing soccer face, or his new face, including tattoos? Current Beckham or 20-year-old Beckham?
I would marry current Beckham.
Thank you.
Yeah,
my best friends were like, "What is wrong?"
No, I mean, he was cute. He was attractive.
He was a baby.
Yeah,
a little baby.
Exactly.
Now he's a man covered in neck tattoo. I'm like, wait, Do I have a neck tattoo, Kate?
I do.
I do.
And I have some books for you too. Yeah, that is a whole thing. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I mean, just to know that like David Beckham getting his neck tattooed, there's nothing hotter. That is a moment where you look to your husband. And I did ask Ryan, your husband has tattoos, right?
He just got his first, but I haven't even talked about it. You're just assuming because he was in the Navy.
Yeah. Wait, I thought he had like a thigh tattoo. Maybe I'm just thinking about him.
He's about to.
I once asked my husband, who's like not a person you would think has tattoos, and I'm like, you should really consider just like throw one on. No one will see it. Yeah,
or like what if it just came up out of your button down?
We could cover it up with makeup for important calls. Okay,
yeah, like cover it up for makeup. It's fine.
It's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal. Just a little tiny neck tattoo.
I know.
Make a girl's dreams come true.
Just like make this really solidify this marriage. Like put my name in another language.
You want to make it serious?
Exactly. This ring. What does this even mean? Give me the tattoo.
Nothing. It's nothing without the neck tat. Okay, what is your IRL LOL of the week? Your in real life LOL. I love just hearing about what made people laugh really freaking hard this week.
So this is more something that made other people laugh, but eventually I came to laugh. Okay, this actually happened, I have to be honest, like 3 weeks ago, but it was traumatic enough that it's still top of mind. Okay, there's there's a bakery in downtown Chicago. I moved to the suburbs. I always miss the bakery. And whenever I go to Chicago, I go pick up a few treats. It's called Sweet Mandy B's if you're local. Tell them Katie sent you. So the favorite thing they have is peanut butter Rice Krispie treats with chocolate icing on top. I get some, bring them home.
Let's go.
And they're humongous. So like I eat it over the course of a day, like maybe over the course of 2 days. So I'm enjoying one. I leave it out. I go to bed. And the next day I'm like so pissed at my husband because he started having some as well. And I'm just like, dude, like he's not a dessert connoisseur like I am. I'm like, go eat a Reese's. Like this, I trekked to the city for this.
Yes.
And so I'm just pissed, but I'm still working on it. And then I go on I start the next Rice Krispie treat. And like later in the day, I'm like looking at the Rice Krispie treat and it's almost as if someone ate all the chocolate icing off. And I'm like, Ryan, what a bizarre way to eat this. And he's like, I don't eat that. And that's how I learned I had a mouse in my house who I was Lady and the Tramp splitting a Rice Krispie treat with. Literally, I mean, Lady and the Tramp. It was taking a bite. I was taking a bite. No clue because I'm so dumb. So it has been handled.
No.
There have been professionals who have come. We learned they're coming up through you guys don't have to know the dirty deets, but
you were going splitsies.
Splitsies. I mean, if you knew, it wasn't.
I hate this, and I love
it was disgusting. I mean, everyone in my life thought this was so freaking funny.
But Ryan, when did your teeth get so tiny?
Exactly. I'm like, when did you start liking
nibbling it? You freak.
Yes, I
get a freaking neck tattoo.
Exactly, and stay away from my dessert.
Such tiny bites.
So I'm now half rat mouse. I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was. But funny, I guess. The farther I get from it, the funnier it is.
Really freaking funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so similarly, do you know what type 2 fun is?
No.
Have you heard that expression ever? I think that yours...
Probably on the West Coast, it's going to come to the Midwest in like 10 years.
I feel like, it's just like a cool thing. You'll hear about it in 10 years.
Exactly.
It is very similar. It's type 2 fun is exactly what you just described, actually. That is a objectively hysterical story that you can now laugh about. Everyone, you will tell that story forever because it's freaking hilarious. But at the time, nothing about it was funny, right? That's type 2 fun.
Okay.
In the moment, it was not fun, but like looking back, it's really fun and funny and hilarious. That's type 2 fun. And that is actually what my IRL LOL of the week is also. So as I mentioned, I was just down in San Diego. My two best friends from boarding school, we met up there. My friend Nellie just moved down there with her family, and Lily flew in from New York. Nellie has 2 kids, one of which is 10 months old. Lily has a 10-month-old. I have a 14, 15-month-old. So Lily and I brought the babies. I brought just Cash, the baby. And so we were like, oh, we'll have this like girls and babies week. Like, it'll be great. We'll go to go out to coffee, go to the beach. I'm a mom of 3. Why did I think this was a good idea? Nothing goes well when you have 4 children in one house together. Like within 12 hours, Nellie's 10-month-old is vomiting. She gets like this monster diaper rash
Yes.
that like involves a trip to the ER, like serious business. Wick, Lily's baby, then
like
gets
cute
like
name.
hideously sick. So cute. It's her last name. Ugh, Wicky baby. So
cute.
precious, Joe. So he's monstrously sick. Cash gets it the next day.
No.
Like it was
my
like,
God.
McSweeney's, just like
Yes.
series,
Yes.
catastrophe after catastrophe. We like we drive finally one day. We're getting a really good lunch today. Like we deserve this. We drive to this. I used to live in San Diego, in southern San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
Nellie lives in northern San Diego. So we go to this restaurant that's like halfway in the middle that George and I used to love. It's called George's at the Cove. For anyone who's in San Diego, it's fabulous. It's like very old school California. Like the font is really like 90s. Like it feels like Sex in the City. Like it's like white and like stark, but the food's really good. We get there, it's like on top of this roof deck. We lug the Dunas up to the deck.
Like those big fat 10-month-old
like,
babies. Yeah.
Just like we're like we're like sweating our asses off. We get up there, it's closed for construction.
No.
And I'm like, okay, it's okay. I've got another place I love. We get there, all we want is a margarita. There's no margaritas. No. We're like, okay, or there's no tequila. We like get to the next, it's just like
tequila.
One of those. No tequila. So we go to the next place, and it was like a very shitty Mexican place that we drove 30 minutes to get to. We were going to take this like beautiful beach walk. And by the time lunch was over, all the babies are losing their minds because they're all so tired. We then get stuck in 50 minutes of traffic. On the way home, we are stuck in this like hideous traffic. And we I don't even know what we started laughing about, but we all start like laughing so hard that we're like literally peeing our pants. And that is type 2 fun.
Yes.
Like nothing about the day was fun, but it was fun because it was so bad.
So terrible. And will be a memory you like cherish forever just because of how absurdly bad it was.
How absurdly bad it was. Like we were like, how is this
How could everything
happening?
go wrong?
Like we're in 75-degray beautiful San Diego with our best friends, and this is like the shittiest
Oh my
day.
God, that is that when you had the bad croissants too?
Yes, we also had bad croissant after bad croissant. It was like an Encinitas. Get your shit together on the croissant.
Exactly. If anyone should know how to master them in
people?
the U.S., it should be them. I think.
I know. It's just not that hard. Okay, the final question that I ask only you, and I'm very excited for your response on this because, as discussed, we've all seen you cook, and it is really a horror show.
It is
what
a shit
do
show.
You cook
it is
when you don't feel like
such a
cooking?
shit show. I was about to just say reservations or carry out, but when I really cook, I make breakfast for dinner.
Deeper. Oh,
that's my favorite. That's the one thing I learned, guys. I know this won't impress anyone, but I can make an omelet, and that is what I make.
That is impressive.
It took a long time to get there, but that is what I make. And I'm a big fan of breakfast. Like I eat a 3-course breakfast most days. Like just like
most days.
I'm a big breakfast girl. Like I normally eat like
that
4 pieces of toast, like fried eggs, bacon. That's the one, I think because I make it so much, that's what I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
So that's what I make. And the funny thing is my husband like doesn't like breakfast food. So he always wants pancakes if I'm making breakfast for dinner, which is a little above my pay grade, but I was
going to say,
I mean,
complicated.
It is. I make like a 3-ingredient pancake for my son. I try to pass that off to Ryan as like, here, it's like banana and like an egg. I'm like, this is delicious.
So good. Banana, egg, and little almond flour. Exactly. Don't you love it, honey?
Exactly. Just load it with the amount of syrup he puts on. He could be eating, I mean.
If he would just get a neck tattoo, you would learn to make him a proper pancake.
I would sous vide things. I'm just thinking of fancy cooking terms. Sous videing is kind of gross, right? Like that's where you
spatchcock and sous vide
spatchcock all over the place.
No, sous vide isn't gross, but I can see how you might think it is. It's like the meat looks like still raw, but then you have to give it a nice sear. Okay, I have a pancake trick, and you might already know this.
I probably don't.
When you're cooking pancakes, especially if you're making like a box mix. Well, no. Okay, this is how not to throw out the first one. Turn your skillet, your largest nonstick skillet, turn it on to medium heat. Mm-hmm. The second you start even conceptualizing your pancakes. So turn your skillet on to medium heat.
Before anything's been mixed.
Okay. This is how not to throw away your first pancake. And then I'm assuming
Yeah, you're assuming correctly.
If you're not making your banana pancake, you're going to make it from a box. So throw your mix in, add your egg, add your water, your milk, whatever. mix it up. So this is maybe, it's taken us 4 minutes,
Mhm.
perhaps 5 minutes to get here. At this point, your skillet is the perfect heat to not botch your first pancake.
Okay, this is life
That's
changing.
it. And never raise your skillet. This goes for grilled cheese. This goes for pancakes.
Never.
Never raise the heat above medium. We're not
What?
cooking on medium high. We are cooking on medium because medium will get us the perfect toasty-oasty without
Yes.
burning the outside and cook it all the way through.
I cook both
Grilled
the things
cheese.
you mentioned at medium high. Grilled cheese, I make
Yes.
I make a grilled cheese pretty much every night. And
Yeah. Does the outside get burnt before your cheese gets melted often?
yeah, I put a lid on to try to get the melt.
Oh, yeah. I like that.
But it does
I like
get burned.
that. Yeah. I like that, but then maybe your bread gets a tiny bit soggy sometimes.
Oh, always.
So the way,
Always.
yeah, okay. So the way not to do that is just medium, low and slow. You'll get like the perfect golden brown pancakes, bread, medium.
Oh
medium,
my God, my
medium,
stomach's
medium.
grumbling.
Yeah, I know, pancakes for dinner, baby.
Yes, I mean I have no food here, so that's what's going to have to happen. And he's going to be impressed.
I've been out of town, as I said, and my fridge is so bare right now. It's like
I believe at any point you could
Well.
whip something up like from nothing. I like think of
You're not
you when
wrong.
I'm yeah, I knew it.
I'll be honest, you're not wrong.
I probably go to the grocery store every single day if I'm
Oh,
cooking.
I hate that.
I got to work on that. I
think that's a lot of my readers of what to cook when you don't feel like cooking. I think a lot of people are that way because they think of cooking as such a big lift. And
Mhm.
for me, I'm like, you'll probably only have to buy 2 ingredients, like just the potatoes and the chicken. You'll have all the spices and the butter and the rice, whatever, already. And they're like, no, I don't. I have to buy 5 spices for this. So that's actually why I started What to Cook When You Don't Feel Like Cooking. It's supposed to be like super like low on the ingredient list so that for someone like
and
you,
the way
you
you
can go
write
and it's just a few things.
The way you write the ingredients and the measuring is the best. I love it.
I try.
It's so good.
All I want, you are my target audience. All I want is for you to cook my recipes and feel like they're easy. I'm going to get there eventually.
I said the tiny tomato pasta. I made that like 4 times to the point where my sister was like, okay, we've had this a lot in the last but I could do that just so everyone knows, I'm a paying customer. I read it every week. And I'm always like, what will I make? When will I make one of these?
And you're like, pancakes.
You know what I do throw on if I don't feel like I love making fajitas.
Oh, that's a good one. In a skillet?
In a cast iron skillet.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like things that you could put cheese on, and like tortillas don't intimidate me, and I feel like you can't really screw up a fajita. But again, I'm making it once a week. I gotta stop.
Yeah. I have a very good sheet pan fajita.
Oh, I've seen it
in the archives. And
I'll
just chop everything up, throw it on a sheet pan, and then you don't have to stand over the stove
and like asphyxiate my son. It gets so smoky,
right? Yeah. Oh, the smoke. Oh my God, that was another thing. That was another type 2 fun from the week. One night we were like supposed to go out, but all the kids are sick, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make us a really delicious dinner. We deserve this. And we finally get all the kids to sleep, and I'm cooking steak on a cast iron, classic. Smoke alarm goes off. It wakes up 3 out of the 4 babies.
Oh my God!
Like moments after they've gone to bed, we were like, no.
I would have started crying.
This isn't actually happening.
You're like, we're not in a sitcom. Like this seems a little too on the nose.
There were multiple times where we were like, is this a Seinfeld episode?
Seriously.
Things
can't be going this wrong.
What is wrong with us? Katie, you are the best.
Oh my God, this is the most fun ever.
Coming. I miss you already. Let's do it again tomorrow.
Ditto. If you ever need me, I promise next time, because there will be a next time, I won't talk about books the whole time. I don't want you guys thinking like I'm just a 2-dimensional
We talked about books a lot. I hope that the book lovers out there are here, and I hope that the non-book lovers, maybe we could
bring it to the dark side.
That's going to be my closing question. If somebody there's so many of my friends, so many people who have had a book on their bedside table for a year because it's Sapiens and it's, they don't actually want to read it.
Mm-hmm.
If you are trying to help somebody get back into reading or just into reading for the first time, what's the number 1 book you would tell them to read? I know, I'm really sorry I just sprung that on you. That was really mean. You take your little time.
I won't.
I'll think too.
I'm just going to say what's on the top of my head. And definitely Emily Henry, what you mentioned, that's where everyone should start. But if you want a book that I feel like people don't talk about that much, Lion's Den. Have you read that?
No.
It's not romance. I think it's good for people who aren't big readers because I suggest it to people who like watch Bravo or Below Deck. It's kind of a thriller. It's part thriller, part romance, and it's basically takes place on a like luxury yacht. I can't remember. I read it so long ago, but I loved it. And
This sounds amazing.
it's fun. So I raved about it for so long, and my cousin was just like, "Is it that good, Katie?" So I've been recently second guessing myself, but I think it's a great way because it's a book that will not stress you out or be difficult to get into, and you will escape. And really quickly, you'll be like, I think it tells you if you want to read more thrillers or more romances based on the book. So I think
because
it's
it's
both.
One.
It is both. Yes.
So you can kind of
not heavy romance, but like more and not creepy murder rapey thriller. It's like light on both aspects.
Okay, great. Wait, I just had a really good one. What was mine good? Oh, mine is also not going to be a romance because I feel like if we're having to convince you, you maybe are not a romance reader. Mm-hmm. If you're a romance reader, my Emily Henry pick for you is Book Lovers. What's your Emily Henry book?
That's mine too.
Okay.
Sometimes it's Beach Read. It's just been so long since I've read it.
Same. Sometimes it's Beach Read, but it's definitely not People We Meet on Vacation.
No.
No. I mean,
it's amazing,
good.
but it's
Emily Henry. But I've never reread it. And I've reread all the others multiple times. Okay, so Book Lovers by Emily Henry, if you're like interested in dabbling into romance. Lion's Den, if you're interested in dabbling into a can't put down thriller romance. And then mine that I know you love too is The Wishing Game, which is a 2023 book, which is not a romance, but has a romance plot to keep our just little everyone loves romance in their heart, even if they think they don't love a romance. And so it just has this like sweet romance plot line that's so unexpected and wonderful, but it's not the point of the book at all.
It's magic.
How do we sum up The Wishing Game? It's like if the author of Narnia or Willy Wonka like hosted a competition at his house
on an
his
island.
Top readers on an island. Like he brings his actual readers into this like fantastical world. It's like very Willy Wonka, but real.
It's like heartwarming, whimsical. Yes, it's
heartwarming.
It's right. It's real, so it like it reaffirms your faith in people. I loved that book. I thought it was so good.
Faith in people. It was freaking fabulous. It was the first non-romance that I couldn't put down. Like I stayed up until 3 a.m. reading. I think I texted you the next day. I was like, what just happened? I just got addicted to a non-romance for the first time in years.
And when you get addicted to a non-romance, you kind of feel like, see, I read it all.
Brilliant?
Yeah, exactly. Am I better than everyone?
Wait, am I a Nobel laureate?
Exactly.
Katie, you're the best. Thank you for coming.
Oh my God, thank you for having me.